Hello, I'm Jacky from IELTSJacky.com. Welcome to this video on double question essays. Double question essays are also known as direct question or two question essays. They're distinguished by two characteristics. They have one statement with two different questions after it. The questions may or may not be linked. Here are three examples of this type of question. 1. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. How can we conserve these resources? What are some alternatives to fossil fuels? 2. Some parents buy their children whatever they ask for and allow their children to do whatever they want. Is this a good way to raise children? What consequences could this style of parenting have for children as they get older? 3. The arts, including art, music and theatre, are considered to be important in society. Do you think the arts still have a place amongst our modern lifestyles? Should the arts be included in the school curriculum? The first thing you need to know is how to analyse the question, to be sure you understand exactly how to answer it. I'll show you how to do this. I'm also going to demonstrate step by step how to plan and write double question essays. Here's what we'll be covering: 3 common mistakes, the essay structure, how to plan, how to write an introduction, how to write main body paragraphs, and how to write a conclusion. You'll find in-depth lessons on planning and writing introductions, main body paragraphs and conclusions on the website and in related videos. I put links to these in the notes below this video. There are 3 common errors made by students writing double question essays: not answering both questions fully, not outlining both answers in the introduction, mistaking it for one of the other essay types. Many students make the mistake of answering only one of the questions, or focusing more on one question than the other, which leads to an unbalanced essay. Both these errors will seriously affect your score for task achievement. You must outline everything you're going to write about in the introduction. This is your blueprint for the whole essay. I'll show you how to do this and get your essay off to a great start. It's easy to mistake double question essays for one of the other 4 types of Task 2 essays, especially opinion or discussion essays. Each should be answered in a slightly different way. Analysing the question properly will help you to avoid this error. As well as showing you how to do this, I'm going to give you a simple 4-part structure for planning your essay. Let's look at this essay structure straight away. You can use it to write any double question essay. It's easy to learn and will enable you to quickly plan and write a high-level essay. Pause the video and spend a few moments studying it. This structure will give us a well-balanced essay with 4 paragraphs. We now need some ideas to add to the structure and we'll have everything we need for our essay. Here's the question we're going to be answering in our model essay, followed by the 3 steps of the planning process. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. How can we conserve these resources? What are some alternatives to fossil fuels? The 3 planning tasks are: analyse the question, generate ideas and identify vocabulary. Analysing the question will ensure that you answer it correctly. It's quick and easy to do. You just need to identify 3 different types of words: topic words, other keywords and instruction words. Topic words are the ones that identify the general subject of the question and will be found in the statement part of the question. Here's our question with the topic words highlighted in blue. So this question is about fossil fuels. Many people do this first step of the process and then write about the topic in general. This is a serious mistake and leads to low marks for task achievement. What we need to do now that we know the general topic is to understand exactly what aspect of fossil fuels we're being asked to write about. The other keywords in the question tell you the specific things you must write about. For double question essays, these will often be in the instructions, that is, the actual questions. By highlighting these words, it's easy to see that you're being asked to write about conserving resources and alternatives to fossil fuels. Your essay must only include ideas relevant to these ideas. The instruction words are the questions themselves. These tell you exactly what type of information is required, and each will become the topic for one of the two main body paragraphs. The first main body paragraph will answer the first question, how, and the second will answer the second question, what. The next task is to generate some ideas to write about. There are several different ways to think up ideas. I cover them fully on the web page and in the related video on Task 2 essay planning that I mentioned earlier. We're going to use the Friends technique. This is the method I prefer as it allows you to take a step back from the stress of the exam situation and to think more calmly. Here's how it works. Imagine that you're in a casual conversation with a friend over a cup of coffee and they ask you this question. What are the first thoughts that come into your head? Plan your essay around these ideas. Doing this will help you to come up with simple answers in everyday language rather than straining your brain to think of amazing ideas using high-level language, which isn't necessary. Here are my ideas as I thought of them. Pause the video and spend a few moments reading through them. Don't spend too long on this, as you only need 1 or 2 ideas. There's so much we could write about this topic that we have to be very careful we don't try to include too many different ideas, and just end up with a list for each question, rather than a well-developed essay. Choose one main idea for each part of the question. My advice on making your selection is to choose ideas that you can quickly think of an example to illustrate. Here are my choices. For how we conserve resources, I've chosen use car less, walk, cycle and public transport. And for alternatives to fossil fuels, I've chosen natural resources, solar and wind power and wave and tidal energy. We're almost ready to start writing our essay, but first we have one other small task to do. During the planning stage, quickly jot down some vocabulary that comes to mind as you decide which ideas you're going to write about, especially synonyms of key words. This will save you having to stop and think of the right language while you're writing. For the ideas I've chosen, useful words will include sustainable, renewable energy and energy efficient. With that done, we can focus on the first paragraph of the essay, the introduction. The best introductions to double question essays have a simple 2-part structure. 1. Paraphrase the question, and 2. Write an outline statement where you state your answer to both questions. The introduction should have 2 to 3 sentences, be 40 to 60 words long, and take about 5 minutes to write. Start your introduction by paraphrasing the question statement. Here's the statement. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. And this is one way you could paraphrase it. That is, say the same thing in a different way. The world is currently reliant on oil, coal and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when these run out. We're simply saying the same thing in a different way and using different vocabulary. Now we need to add an outline statement, where we outline the 2 main points that we'll cover in the rest of the essay, that is, the answers to the 2 questions. we need to be very specific about what we're going to write about. Here's a reminder of the ideas I've chosen to answer the two questions. For how can we conserve these resources, I've chosen use car less, walk, cycle and use public transport. And for what are some alternatives to fossil fuels, I've chosen natural forces, solar and wind power, wave and tidal energy. And this is one way we could write the opinion statement. This essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. Note my use of synonyms to replace key words in the questions. You don't have to replace every key word, but do so where possible, whilst ensuring that your language sounds natural. So let's bring the two elements of our introduction together. The world is currently reliant on oil, coal and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when these run out. This essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. This introduction achieves three important functions. It shows the examiner that you understand the question, it acts as a guide to the examiner as to what your essay is about, and it also helps you to focus and keep on track as you write. The two ideas in your introduction will become your two main body paragraphs. Main body paragraph 1 will be about using the car less, walking, cycling and using public transport. And main body paragraph 2 will be about renewable energies and natural forces such as solar and wind power, wave and tidal energy. Main body paragraphs in double question essays should contain three things: a topic sentence where you state your answer, an explanation where you develop the idea, and an example. The topic sentence summarises the main idea of the paragraph. That's all it needs to do, so it doesn't have to be complicated. It plays an important role in ensuring that your ideas flow logically from one to another. It does this by acting as a signpost for what's to come next, that is, what the paragraph will be about. If you maintain a clear development of ideas throughout your essay, you'll get high marks for both task achievement and cohesion and coherence. We'll now take the idea for our first main body paragraph and create our topic sentence. Main idea 1 is use car less, walk, cycle and use public transport, and only travel when really necessary. Here's one way we could write our topic sentence. Conserving energy is a responsibility of every individual and an important way in which we can all do our bit to use more energy efficient means of transport. Next, we must write the explanation sentences that develop the idea. For example, the easiest way to do this is to leave the car at home and walk or cycle to our destination if it isn't too far away, or take public transport for longer journeys. Another way to reduce our fuel consumption is to car share. Finally, we add an example to support our main point. If you can't think of a real example, it's fine to make one up, as long as it's believable. The examiner isn't going to check your facts. Alternatively, you could add another piece of information to support your idea, but an example is better. Here's my example. Whenever my friends and I get together for coffee, we agree to meet up at a cafe that we can each get to without having to drive our cars there. We usually go on foot or ride our bikes. If everyone made small decisions like this, it would make a real difference. That's the 3 parts of our first main body paragraph complete. Here's the finished paragraph. I've colour-coded it to highlight the 3 sections. Pause the video and read through it so that you can hear how the 3 parts flow from one to another. We'll now follow the same procedure for the second main body paragraph. For main body paragraph 2, we'll take the idea I've chosen and create our topic sentence. Here's a reminder of the idea. Renewable energy and natural resources, solar and wind power, wave and tidal energy. And here's how we could write it as a topic sentence. The most sustainable alternatives to fossil fuels are the generation of power from natural forces, such as the sun, wind and oceans. Now for the explanation where we expand on this idea. Here's one way we could write it. Solar and wind power are already widely used across the world, but it's wave power and tidal energy that have the greatest untapped potential to provide for our energy needs in the future. Finally, we need an example to support our main point. Here's my example. A report recently commissioned in the United Kingdom estimates that tidal energy could meet as much as 20% of the UK's current electricity demands, once the technology being developed is operational. Wave energy converters are expected to prove equally successful in the long term. That's the 3 parts of our second main body paragraph complete. Here's the finished paragraph. Pause the video again and read it through. Now we need a conclusion and our double question essay is done. The conclusion is a summary of the main points in your essay and can be done in a single sentence. It should never introduce new ideas. If you're below the 250 word limit after you've written your conclusion, you can add a prediction or recommendation statement. Our essay is already over the minimum word limit, so we don't need this extra sentence, but you can learn more about how to write a prediction or recommendation statement on my webpage about Task 2 conclusions and in the related video. I put a link to them in the notes below this video. The conclusion is the easiest sentence in the essay to write, but one of the most important. A good conclusion to a double question essay will neatly end the essay, link all your ideas together, sum up your argument or opinion, and answer the question. If you achieve this, you'll improve your score for both task achievement and cohesion and coherence, which together make up 50% of the overall marks. Without a conclusion, you'll score below band 6 for task achievement. You can start the final paragraph of almost any IELTS Task 2 essay with the words "in conclusion" or "to conclude." Now all you need to do is briefly summarise the main ideas into 1 or 2 sentences. Here's a top tip. Go back and read the introduction to the essay, because this is also a summary of the essay. It outlines what you're going to write about. To create a great conclusion, you simply have to paraphrase the introduction. This is the introduction we wrote earlier. The world is currently reliant on oil, coal and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when these run out. This essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. And here's the same information formed into a conclusion. In conclusion, the Earth's reserves of fossil fuels will not last forever, and we need to be continually developing new technologies to enable us to produce energy from renewable sources such as the sun, wind and water. In the meantime, we can help to slow the rate of depletion by leaving the car at home and using more energy efficient forms of transport whenever possible. That's it, we've completed our essay. Here it is with the 4 paragraphs put together. It's on this slide and the next one. I'll leave you to read through the whole essay yourself if you want to. Go through this lesson as many times as you need to in order to fully understand it, and then put in lots of practice writing double question essays from past exam questions. Take your time at first and gradually speed up until you can plan and write an essay of at least 250 words in the 40 minutes allowed in the exam. Practice is the only way to improve your skills. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another lesson soon. Goodbye for now.